Plot is the sequence of incidents or events through which an author constructs a story. Skilled authors are careful to present the sequence in a significant order. When described in isolation, the plot bears about the same relationship to a story that a map does to a journey. Just as a map may be drawn on a finer or grosser scale, so may a plot be recounted with lesser or greater detail. A plot summary may include what characters say or think, as well as what they do, but it leaves out the description and analysis and concentrates primarily on major events. Plot should not be confused with the content of the work. The plot is not the action itself, rather it is the way the author arranges the action toward a specific end. In commercial fiction, the plot may include many surprising twists and turns, and a culminating climactic incident, because the main goal is to keep the reader turning the pages. A commercial author is likely to use a tried and true, fairly conventional structure in arranging the plot elements. The story may follow a standard chronology, for instance, and may employ familiar structural patterns. For a literary writer, a complex structure is often required to convey complex meanings. The significance of the action is more important than the action itself, and subtle exchanges of words among characters may be just as significant as the more action-oriented sequences. Ordinarily, however, both the surface excitement required in commercial fiction and the significant meaning found in literary fiction arise out of some sort of conflict, a clash of actions, ideas, desires, or wills. Characters may be pitted against some other person or group of persons, conflict of person against person. They may be in conflict with some external force, physical nature, society, or fate, conflict of person against environment. Or they may be in conflict with some elements in their own natures, conflict of person against himself or herself. The conflict may be physical, mental, emotional, or moral. The central character in a conflict, whether sympathetic or unsympathetic as a person, is called the protagonist. Occasionally, there may be more than one protagonist in a story. The technical term protagonist is preferable to the popular term hero or heroine because it is less ambiguous. The protagonist is simply the central character. The term hero or heroine implies that the central character has heroic qualities, which is often not the case. Any force arranged against the protagonist, whether persons, things, conventions of society, or the protagonist's own character traits, is the antagonist. In some stories, the conflict is single, clear-cut, and easily identifiable. In others, it is multiple, various, and subtle. Excellent literary fiction has been written utilizing all four of these major kinds of conflict. Much commercial fiction, however, emphasizes only the confrontation between man and man, depending on the element of physical conflict to supply the primary excitement. For instance, it is hard to conceive of a Western story without a fistfight or a gunfight. Even in the most formulaic kinds of fiction, however, something more will be found than mere physical action. Good people will be arrayed against bad ones, and thus the conflict will also be between moral values. In commercial fiction, this conflict often is clearly defined in terms of moral absolutes, the good guy versus the bad guy. In literary fiction, the contrasts are usually less distinct. Good may be opposed to good, or half-truth to half-truth. There may be difficulty in determining what is good or bad, causing internal conflict rather than physical confrontation. In the real world, of course, significant moral issues are seldom sharply defined, judgments are difficult, and choices are complex rather than simple. Literary writers are aware of this complexity and are more concerned with displaying its various shadings of moral values than with presenting glaring simplistic contrasts of good and evil, right and wrong.
Academy.